Hello, I'm Kevin Benedict, Senior Vice President of Solution Strategy at Regalix, and this week, reporting live from Barcelona at SAP CX, or Customer Experience Live Conference. And I get to be here with Adrian Nash, who's Head of Product Management for SAP Customer Cloud, Data Cloud.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
SAP Customer Data Cloud.
So that used to be, that's the new name of the Gigia product.
That's correct,
right?
yeah. The acquisition of Gigia happened to SAP in the later stages of last year.
Yeah.
So rebranded to the SAP Customer Data Cloud this year, and providing three products around customer identity management, SAP Customer Consent, so consent and preference management,
right,
and profile management for first-party deterministic data.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for those that aren't familiar with all these kind of terms we're using here,
Yeah.
talk to us about that.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
Three products.
Yeah.
What is important for a marketer out there to know?
Yeah, sure. So the first problem that we've generally solved is around knowing who the person is across
That
different
comes to
channels.
your website?
Yeah, your website, your mobile app, even IoT devices like cars and Alexas and people like that.
So who's on the other side?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a way of determining who the person is. And the fact that they can re-identify themselves across any other platform, and it's the same user, so you can continue user experiences across different devices that you're using.
Okay. Is that automatic?
So actually, so maybe you and maybe many of the people watching have used, say, a social login capability, so Facebook to log into an app. And actually, we provide that capability of social login using, say, Facebook, or Twitter, or LinkedIn, or all of those kind of social network providers to easily authenticate and become a known user on the device.
Okay.
And then if you do the same on your desktop when you're in the office, it's the same person. So we know that you've got the same profile, the same preferences, the same consent, and the same persona as a person. So across those digital touch points, you can really identify yourself, and the brands that use the Customer Data Cloud really personalize and provide great experiences based on knowing who you are across those digital touch points.
So a layman might hear that and go, that is creepy, and I know SAP has this new motto,
Sure.
right? Don't be creepy.
Yeah.
So why is that not creepy?
Yeah. So it's actually opted in by the customer themselves. So for example, my expectation, and a good example use case is we have many media companies that we work with. One of the media companies that we work with has a video on demand platform. So as I come to the video on demand platform, I need to create an account. So the customer action is, I need to create an account that I register for, and I don't want to fill in a long form, so I'll use Facebook to register, for example. And I'll start watching a video. I'll pause that video, and maybe I'm on the train and I go home and I want to finish that video. So I load up a browser, authenticate using the same method that I chose. I opted in to subscribe, and my video will continue playing.
Okay.
So it's powered by the consumer action, so they always opt in. It's never done automatically in the background, and we can continue experiences across devices like e-commerce, checkout processes, wish lists, baskets, all of those things, and continue the journey across all of those devices.
So I see that it's going to be very valuable for the marketer because they want as much data across devices as they can get, so they can personalize and make contextually relevant the experience.
Yeah.
So I see the value there.
Yeah.
I see the convenience factor for the user too. I know that I would prefer ads that are related to my interest and not get random ads. So I can see the give and take there. Okay, so that's the login stuff.
That's right.
And authentication.
Yeah, that's right.
So what are the other two?
So SAP Customer Consent goes actually to your previous point, right? Collecting data as a brand comes with a responsibility. It comes with the perception that you're going to do responsible things with customer data. In this modern age, responsible things with customer data. So part of that onboarding process, part of that authentication process might be the fact that you're collecting the right level of consent to do those things that you mentioned. So actually, to personalize ads on the website is a certain type of permission that you need to grant as a consumer. Emailing the consumer, the person about marketing campaigns, about product updates, or services updates requires a permission. And it's on the brands that store that data, it's their burden to prove that they had the right level of consent for that point in time. So SAP Customer Consent captures all of those opt-ins, along with all of the metadata required to prove that you had the right level of permission at that point in time, stores it in a central platform and synchronizes that to your email service providers or to your DMPs, to your CRMs, so that you orchestrate permission from the customer in your ecosystem.
Right.
So it reduces risk as a business because you're no longer emailing people when you don't have the right level of consent. It means that the customers know exactly how data is being captured and used, and they have control over that data through preference centers and preference management. And it really builds trust with the customers. And ultimately, trust is a hard thing to gain, but an easy thing to lose. And part of the trends that we're seeing in the market is that actually if you lose trust with your customers, it's extremely hard to get them back.
Oh yeah.
So building that trusted customer relationship based on knowing who the customer is core to our offering.
Got it. So Adrian, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You're giving us a clean, sanitized, logical view on how the world should work.
Right.
And then, we read last week that convenience of using Facebook login allowed data to get all messed up and stolen. What is it, 50 million users or something, the last article I read?
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
What went wrong there, and how can that be solved in the future?
Yeah. So actually, so obviously this is probably my perception of what happened, and I understand what happened to the Facebook breach, but really these platforms have grown at incredible speed and trying to stay ahead of the game, providing great experiences for you to communicate with your friends and family and beyond. And sometimes that growth comes at a cost. And I think, the Facebook issue was a particular scenario that exposed a token that could then be used to get the customer data. Fortunately for our customers, that we operate a door that only operates one way. So you can use the social network to log in to an application that we power, and we can obtain data from the Facebook profile and then continue the journey, but it's not the other way around. So Facebook can't grab data from the Customer Data Cloud and use it for their services. It's a one-way. I mean, it's not good either way, right? Every breach, every data leak impacts us all. And I think this just raises the expectation that customers will engage with brands and exchange data, but they need to have the trust that you're going to look after and look after the data, treat it with respect, and at the right point in time, if I no longer want to engage with you as an organisation, have the capabilities to remove that interaction.
Got it. So what do you think the trend is going to be? Are companies going to be looking for specialists like you guys to authenticate and protect that data because they don't really trust individual sites to be smart enough to stay on top of that?
Yeah, I think the trends are actually, a lot of our effort was because we were observing the GDPR. But actually, the Californian data privacy.
GDPR is General Data Protection Regulation in the EU. It's a set of regulations that document and define how you treat data and how you protect it. Okay.
Yeah, and actually this is the start of an evolution of the customer data. You just have to look at the California data privacy rules that are coming into place in 2020, and actually in some ways they're more restrictive than the GDPR. So actually, I don't think it's the fact that governments are stepping in. I think it's really that consumers are shouting about areas where their data is being abused and they feel like they don't have control. and industries and governments are having to react to those instances where our data has been leaked or stolen, or we're getting communication in ways that isn't relevant or not appropriate.
There must be a better way.
There's got to be a better way. And I would argue that actually the people that provide consent for you to market to are highly engaged with your brands. So the quality of data. So the risk is that lots of people will opt out of, say, marketing communication. But the value is if you're really building trust with customers, those customers that do engage with your brand and want to receive services and notifications, it's an opportunity because they're highly engaged. So if you send them an email, potentially they're going to look at that email, they're going to ingest the content, and it's going to lead to an engagement with your brand.
So there was a third.
Yes, yeah, and that's our profile management solution. Yeah. So the other two solutions are collection sources, and think of the profile as the data. And when someone registers, it might just be as simple as an email address for a newsletter registration. The profile then is the mechanism that sends that data to the email marketing automation tool. So it takes the data based on consent, will send it over to the marketing automation system, and then you can execute your marketing campaigns on that data. Right. So it's really the data store powering the other two solutions based on first-party data.
Wow. Yeah. Well, Adrian, I want to thank you for sharing all this kind of really deep and really important information, though, because marketers know they can't just be buying random databases or lists anymore.
Yeah.
You know, that's just a no-no, and that's being the creepy. Mm-hmm. But they haven't always figured out what's the next step.
Yeah.
Like, how do you generate leads in this new world?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to put that question out. Mm-hmm. Last question of our interview. Mm-hmm. What's the new way of getting leads?
Yeah. So I think the opportunity is to provide those highly personalized experiences based on a value exchange. If I think about those organizations, those vendors that I share a lot of data with and I continue to engage with, they're providing me a great service that speaks to me as a consumer.
Yep.
Personalization is often based on the data that you contain about those experiences. So I would say that the brands that we're seeing have the most success of addressing the changes in data regulation are seeing it as an opportunity. So yes, we'll ask for this data, but this is exactly how we're going to use it. And don't forget, you can have control about it at any time. So the transparency of saying how you're collecting data and using, actually there's a statistic that 73% of consumers will share data if they know how it's going to be used. And I think it's then, I'll have to check, I think it's 74% of consumers will actually share data if they can also have control of that data. So think of it as an opportunity. Like when you start a new relationship with someone that you don't know, you start with a level playing field of trust, and you build trust over time. And you build trust by creating a relationship. You build trust with people that you know you're having an honest conversation with. And I think that translates to our digital age. We have to build a relationship, build trust, and customers will engage with your brands and share data because they see the value in doing that and having great experiences. It's a challenge, but I think it's an opportunity as well.
Great. Well, Adrian, I want to thank you for sharing all your knowledge and experience with us.
No problem.
And a terrific event here, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you guys for joining us.